Good day, good day. Welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Jay, and this is Homeschool Your Kids podcast. Today we have with us Erica. Erica, introduce yourself.
Hi, I am Erica Dela Rosa. I am a former educator. I am a super proud Houston Texan girly. I'm going to shout out my second ward neighborhood because I am so proud of where I'm from. And I work with the nonprofit Freedom to Choose Schools. I am their manager of strategic partnerships. And I'm a new mom. My daughter just turned 2. So the personal of education, which has always been very personal to me, I'm learning new levels of personal in this season. Yeah.
Homeschool families. Homeschool Yo Kids Expo and Homeschool Beats Academy are teaming up to bring you a day of real support and real inspiration. Come explore curriculum and enrichment, meet trusted vendors, and connect with the homeschool community. And at our featured Expo stop, meet Homeschool Beats Academy and see how students ages 7 to 18 can create original music through beat making and production with parent-friendly guidance. Get dates and details at homeschoolyokidsexpo.com.
Nice. Okay, nice. And shout out to Houston because the first time I went to Houston, I was like, oh, I want to move here. So I can understand that. Houston is dope. Houston is dope. Okay, new mom with the fresh 2-year-old. So, okay, let us rewind. How did we get to Freedom to Choose Schools? What led us to the path of the nonprofit? Because nonprofits, I got a nonprofit, but we don't start at nonprofits most times. It's always like, okay, how do we get here?
Oh, I love that. Yeah. I started off I'll do a short and then I can go deep into it because I just have my But yeah, so I taught for about nine years. Really thought that I would teach for the rest of my life. I went specifically to teach. Loved it. Was in a school 5 minutes away from my house, so in my neighborhood. Just so happy with it. Really a big identity piece for me. And along the way, I caught the advocacy bug. So I did some teacher fellowships. So some other shout outs. Latinos for Education was my first fellowship as a teacher, which led me to Leadership for Educational Equity. And then I also did fellowship with an organization called Teach Plus. And then I did some organizing, some grassroots organizing through Lee and another space here in Houston. And along the way, I'm very faithful. I definitely believe in God, and I will say not a white nationalist God. Very clear. I'm just going to put that out there very clearly. My God is a God of the oppressed and chooses the marginalized every time. So I'm saying that. But in that, I felt a lot of God calling me to advocacy spaces, to a life outside of the classroom, which is very hard for me to process and feel. And then also, though, along the way, my husband and I have been together for a really long time. We actually met when we were 9 and we started dating when we were 16 and got married.
Oh my God.
I know. We got married when we were around 25, 26 or something. So we'd been together for a really long time, and through our own backgrounds and histories, knew that if we had kids, it would be something very serious to us. We both grew up experiencing single moms or matriarchs, and knew the downside of not having a stable space for kids. And so along the way, we were ready to have a child. And when I found out I was pregnant, it was the all right, it's the mother that I want to be. I cannot be that if I am still teaching, because the teacher that I am gives everything that I have. And if I give everything that I have, I won't have anything for my child. And that's not the mother I wanted to be. And so it was a very easy decision once like my daughter was like in the equation. And then it was just like kind of up to God to kind of like make the next steps of where do I go. And so I taught pretty much that whole last year, the last year that I was teaching. I taught up until the Wednesday before I had my daughter, and I had my daughter on a Monday. And so I was in the classroom till the very end. And I was actually
So you're fresh out the classroom.
I am, yeah.
Just got out the classroom. Where were you teaching?
I was in HISD, the Houston Independent School District, which I was going to say too, like it was the first year of the state takeover. And if anyone listening knows anything about state takeovers or anything specifically about HISD's takeover, it was a huge culture shift. It's been a huge change that in itself requires a lot of like conversation. I've learned over the years that like not everything in education is black or white, right or wrong, that there is a lot of layers and there's a lot of interconnectedness. And
Homeschool families, are you ready to refresh your plans for the year? Join us at the Homeschool Yo Kids Expo. Meet curriculum and enrichment vendors, discover new programs, and connect with a community that gets it, all in one place. Come with questions, leave with real options. Get event details and register now at homeschoolyokidsexpo.com. That's homeschoolyokidsexpo.com.
To be frank, our district had schools in the district that were under-resourced, undertended to, that had not been serving the specific communities there, which predominantly were Black or Latino communities, that had not been like showing academic gains or success for decades at that point. And it was a law that eventually like became something like a tool for the state to use to take over districts. And I think, in my humble opinion, that the state is using it as a way to kind of bully districts or kind of assert its own agenda, which Texas, I love my state. I elect the lawmakers that I vote for, but they are not always the ones that lead all of us. And there is not, it's hard because there is truth to things were not working. I mean, like I was in the district for a while too. And as a Latino educator, like there was so much need for, bias training, implicit bias training. There's so much need for more diverse educators. There's so much need for addressing implicit biases or micro or macroaggressions. Like curriculum did not reflect all of our students. Not all of the teachers were trained in culturally sustaining pedagogical practices. Like that in itself was like, there's so much to fix. And the takeover could have been a good thing, but it has not been very well executed in my opinion. There's a lot of teachers and administrators that have been in this for the long haul and have been doing great things and genuinely are experts in their craft and professionals and that do deeply care about these kids and are doing the work day in and day out, who have either been like run out of the district, who've been severely micromanaged to the point where there really is no no professional freedom. And there's just like a lot of new mess that came out of mess that was there, and where there could have been progress, there's just other things that just seem like not that great. But yeah, so teaching while pregnant, very big pregnant, in that season was very, very interesting because I am not a quitter and I do not like to be bullied. So I have like outlasted many an administrator that did not like me, I would say. So I can wait it out. I can be like, no, I'm gonna win. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I'm gonna be here longer than you. So a little bit of my ego is a little bit hurt. I'm not gonna outlast this administrative change, and I'm gonna have to just walk away. So God is good, and I applied for a fellowship, a policy fellowship, and I got it, and I got placed with Freedom to Choose Schools, formerly Freedom Coalition for Charter Schools. And it's been just like a great learning experience. I love to just shout out my coworkers, and especially my boss, even though she tells me not to call her my boss, J. Artist Wright. I've never really been in a position where a supervisor or a boss both celebrates me and does not perceive me as a threat. And so this is like a space where like I've been doing a lot of healing from some teaching wounds. I've been doing a lot of reconnecting with my own power and my own strengths, and growing in confidence of my ability and my voice, and learning so much, and just like leaning into the nuance of things. And my favorite part is just being unapologetically focused on Black and Brown students and Black and Brown school leaders, and the power that Black and Brown educational leadership has to do good things. So yeah, that's like the short to long of how I got it.
I love it because you got to the advocacy, even though I'm sure that was a part of your beginnings anyways, because if you go into the classroom feeling like that was what you were going to do for the rest of your life, you were there for the students, which in turn, like, you know, our voice becomes theirs because they don't know how to necessarily advocate for themselves at that level. Yeah. So besides having a child and the state takeover, how did you make the decision to leave the classroom?
Your kid has music in them. They just need the right tools to let it out. Homeschool Beats Academy teaches kids ages 7 to 18 how to make real beats at home on their schedule, in their own style. No experience needed. Grab the complete First Beat Kit free at homebeatsacademy.com. That's homeschoolbeatsacademy.com.
So before knowing that, like, I was pregnant, I don't know how it's one of those things where like you have conversations with folks. One of my friends I actually was with yesterday was telling me like he remembers we were at a coffee shop down the street, and he was just telling me like, Erica, some people are just made for big things, and I just think you're made for something bigger than the classroom. And I will be very honest, I would gladly not be shined on. I will gladly just hang back and just, I like uplifting other people. I like activating other people. I have that like organizer mindset of just like service to others and just really getting other people to shine and go. So I've never like really wanted attention or like have ever been like, yeah, I'm going to do big things. My mindset is always like, I just want to serve in the way that I'm called to serve in that moment. And so then it started feeling like there's too many things happening that were leading me to, hey, your service, your call to serve is changing. Your call to serve is no longer, the classroom is no longer your kids. Your call to serve is now somewhere different, whether it be, I honestly like now in a space where it's like you're on a bigger scale to share your voice and experiences, and use that in a way to amplify others. So yeah, it was definitely a hard season of realization. And I can actually like remember like my husband and I were on one car for a little bit, and I remember like driving to pick him up from work, and it was like dark already, and I was like crying in the car because I had like a therapy session where I like realized and said out loud, like, I think I do need to be open to something different. And talking about it with him and him just being like, yeah, I know you can do anything else.
Aww. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, Erica, I will say that most lights, when you're a light, you don't like the spotlights. Like, oh no, like don't shine on me. Like, oh no, I'm just doing what I'm supposed to be doing. What do you mean? Like, this is something special. That's how most lights operate. Okay, this is I see you. We are here.
We are here.
However, on the grander scale, I think that's a harsh reality that a lot of teachers, passionate teachers, go through in general. Like if you went into the classroom thinking that, oh, I'm about to be in this classroom for the rest of my life, like I'm about to be with these kids, or I'm about to do all this great stuff, and then you go in there and you're like, oh, but I can't. Like, wait a minute. They don't want me to do that either. Like, no, oh, you want me to pass them? Oh my gosh, this is too much. Like,
oh yeah.
Yeah. My first year teaching, Erica, I cried so much, and I had one child at that time. It was because of me having that one is why I even went into the classroom, my own classroom, because I had been in the classroom, but I was not in my own. And like you said about the pouring out and understanding that you wouldn't have anything left for your child if you were to continue in the classroom with being a mother, that was a guilt that I processed all the time. It's like, oh my gosh, if I hadn't had a child, I could give more to these students. Look, forget about my baby.
And that's what I would have done. I would have put my child aside. Like I literally, like I know myself. I know that I would have, like, it would have been honest. Like it would have been, I know my child is loved, is cared for. I know, right. Statistically speaking, statistically speaking, she has two like educated parents. My husband's a CAT scan tech. And so like she has two parents who like, and even just that alone is such like a higher starting point for people in general. Like for when you look at numbers and you look at statistics, and I know I'm very adamant, we are more than numbers, we're more than statistics, but like objectively speaking, like she has the baseline covered. Whereas like I was with kids who didn't have like any of the things that my kid was starting off with. So like, I know myself, I would have put her aside and I would have said she would be okay. I would have put my students before her. Like, and I was like, I can't do that. Like, had to be honest.
Because I know, right? It's so much needed though. Like and like you said, like, especially teaching at Title I schools or teaching in poverty-stricken areas or teaching the, our lovely Black and brown kids, you see how much of a disservice is taking place on a grand scale. And it's just like, well, dang, all I have are these students, all I have are these classes. What could I do outside of here?
It's so hard too. And it's such like that disillusionment period too of like, I came into the classroom, granted, like I think a lot of teachers do, especially young teachers, with a savior complex of like, I have my own history of trauma, my own experience, and like education saved my life and it was my safe place. And so I'm going to come in and I'm going to be the safe place for these kids. And I'm going to have like strict systems. I'm going to give them everything that they need. And like, I'm so tough and I got through all this stuff. And so like, I'm going to be that tough love that they need and like to be the person to believe in them and like push them because they can do hard things. And like, granted, true. All of the things are true. But like coming from like a space of a savior complex, that controls how you show up for the kids. So like it took a few years for me to like undo that. And like I'm very big on like every teacher should read Pedagogy of the Oppressed by Paulo Freire. Like one of the main premises is like true like knowledge is not imparted by like depositing into someone's brain. It's through dialogue, it's through conversation, it's everyone is skilled. Everyone has something to learn. I learn from my students. My students talk with me. We learn together. They come into my classroom with a wealth of knowledge. And like that also leans into like culturally sustaining pedagogical practices. Like when you have that approach to your classroom, you look and you see, and like culturally responsive as well, you look and you see every person in this room. Like first off, I'm very quick to like point out any adult who doesn't see children as people. So that's a major red flag.
Right.
And that's hard as a teacher when you're around people who are your peers who don't see the same beauty, the same God, like image bearing, the same greatness in these children that I'm trusted with. Like this is a person's whole world. And I'm being trusted with them. And so like there's like this gravity to teaching, this honor. And like granted, like too, like we're not respected as educators. We don't get paid the way we should. Like there's a long list of how like educators are not honored by our society. But I think that's a reflection of how children are also not honored by our society.
Oh, okay, Erica.
Like they don't like. We can just look. Our kids, like the children, should be the most important thing to everything. They're the most important, and there's so many things just around us that prove that they're not. And so, as like a teacher in the classroom, having this level of reverence for these humans in front of me, for this profession, for everything that can be a school environment, it is really, really hard to stay hopeful. It's hard to stay sane. It's hard to stay in it when you might be one of one that actually cares to that extent, or one of two. I was always lucky in that I always had at least 1 to 3 other people that I could like hold on to who like understood me and like had the same passion for the kids, and like we could stick together. Not every teacher has that. So I think like leaving the classroom, a lot of people leave for different reasons, but at least the people that I vibe with who have left the classroom is never the kids.
Never the kids. I tell people all the time, never the kids.
It's like, never the kids. It's I would have stayed long. Like I stayed as long as I did because of them. If the grown-ups could check And like me included, I'm a grown up, I'm ego as well. But like if we could just get our stuff together, if we could just check our egos, if we could collaborate, if we could apologize to a child, like like such a simple thing. Like if we weren't so prideful, if we weren't so just stuck in, you have to respect me because I'm an authority figure.
Because I'm an adult. Yep.
Like things would be good for our kids. And then not even that, like not only would things be good for our kids, like all of these outcomes that folks stress about, like accountability scores and just all these different things, like that's gonna come. Like I just have never understood like how they've not seen the correlation or like like research is there. We know what leads to like a good learning environment. I was talking to one of my old professors the other day and she was just like, Erica, we've had the answers for years. She was like, they just don't want to listen to us.
Yeah, no, problems make more money. Answers don't.
Yeah.
Answers shut things down. Problems that generates more funds. So
yeah.
But if the shutdown hadn't happened, Erica, I wouldn't have. I don't know. I won't say I wouldn't have left the classroom, but I don't think I would have. It wouldn't have been as easy. Like the shutdown was what made, because I didn't have the students in the hallway telling me, I'm going to have you next year, Miss Carter. I'm going to have you next year. And blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh, no, you're not. No, you're not. But they was like, oh, see you next year. I'm so excited. It's a lot. It's a lot. I came across a YouTube video the other day that made me want to share more about my exit out the classroom. But it was like this young lady sharing that if she hadn't left the classroom, she felt like she would have died. Like she felt like I had never used depressed ever in my life. Like that word, like just like, you know, I'm like, whole light. Like I always see, I'm a very optimistic person. I'm just like, man, my last year teacher, I was depressed. I was matching the energy of my students. My students were depressed. I was depressed. And that was heavy. That was a lot. But that was like what I needed to, is like I had to choose me in order to make it. Because I wouldn't have made it, Erica.
And that happens to so many, like, man, it sucks because it's like it happens to all of the great teachers. Like that's the thing, like the great teachers care so much that it is heavy for us, but it's only heavy. So I think I think like the teaching system, profession or whatever, it's like very exploitative, especially to young educators. So like for one, if we look at the majority of like the teaching base, it's women. I mean, we know it's still majority white women, but it's women, young, especially when you see there's like fresh out of college or whatever. And like, granted, like the teaching pipeline has changed over the years. Like I think when I first started, there was a higher number of like classically trained teachers versus like alternative cert. That's completely changed.
Because they have career switchers or that programs where all you got to do is take like 30 credits of something or do
alternative certification stuff.
They made it so for people like, oh, that career is not working out here. Come get free summers. Come get summers off or something. Like, you know, however they're advertising it. But I work with a lot of career switchers. I had a teacher who was teaching AP 11th grade English. And his degree was in like film or something. Film. Yeah, it was interesting.
Yeah, we could go off on a tangent about like the qualifications, the pipeline, the expertise needed. Like we could definitely do that. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's a thing.
But like with teaching just being so exploitative, there's like super young folks or people who are just coming in, and it's just like the machine is just like, we just need bodies. Like they eat us up, they chew us up, they spit us out, they like extract from those in the classroom. And there's this idea that a good teacher cares so much for their kids that they give up weekends, they give up nights, they take a second job. There's like these movies like The Freedom Writers.
Yes.
And like there's just like these inspirational things. There's like this narrative of like what a great teacher is. And it's not fair because
I know. It's like, is the teacher human though? Like, is she human? Does she have feelings?
Also though, like, to care deeply and to be tired can be for a different reason. So like you can be tired because like, yeah, you had to work a second job or something. You can also be exhausted from the fact that like you're a Black or brown teacher operating within a system that was created to ensure that Black and brown people do not succeed outside of the realms of where we're allowed to succeed. That is exhausting. It's exhausting to work within a system where I'm like, granted, I'm 4'11". I've got a strong voice. Don't say that. I'm a little itty bitty. Very small, very small. My babies were always bigger than me. I'm
like a foot taller than you, Erica.
So big. Yes. And there was one time I was like getting after one of my boys. I had him for 2 years and I was like, getting after him, but I was looking up and he was looking down, so he couldn't escape me. But I'm like this tiny person, like, and like, granted, having a confidence or whatever can be intimidating, I guess. But like, what do you mean to tell me you're scared of a 12-year-old? How you gonna tell me you are a 40, whatever, 30 plus, whatever, grown person, whether you're a woman or man or whatever, and like, how are you afraid of a child? How are you intimidated by this child?
Because they don't have a relationship with them.
Don't have a relationship. But then also, to be clear, I know who they're picking. They're picking my Black and brown boys to mislabel as bad. They're picking my Black and brown boys and my strong Black girls and even my strong Latina girls too. Like, they're picking those kids to say they're problematic, they're aggressive, they're combative. This is a 12-year-old. 12-year-olds, period, are problematic, aggressive, hormonal, whatever. It doesn't matter who it is. But I'm the grown-up. So you can't tell me that, like, because what you're not going to do is tell me my kid is bad. What you're not going to do is tell me my kid can't do the XYZ because baby over here is getting everything done. Tell me, I had one day my like appraiser come in and like looked at one of my kids or whatever and saw one of the boys and was like, oh wow, he's doing really well. He wrote a whole paragraph. And I'm like, this is 7th grade. What do you expect? Yes, of course he wrote a whole paragraph. That was the assignment. She was like, he's not. He ain't even blowing sentences in blah, blah, blah's class. And I was like, well, then that should go to tell you blah, blah, blah is doing something wrong. It's the adult. It's not my kid. And like, so like, that's exhausting. It's exhausting to be in a space like that. It's exhausting to my first like 4 or 5 years there. Like, I was the disciplinarian. It was, where that happens, where it's like the Black or brown teacher on the team that is really strong with classroom management. They're like the default disciplinarian. So there was another teacher who would threaten the kids with me in his own classroom if they're misbehaving. Would say like, oh, you don't want me to, I'm going to call Miss Dela Rosa. And so to get them to behave. And it's like, you're making me the bad guy.
Right.
You're affecting my relationship with my kids. because you're not getting your stuff together. And so it's just like, those are other layers of teaching that's really exhausting, that like are unique to Black and brown people, that are hard, that like.
Well, let me ask you something. So how much, because I know that I assimilated a lot. I know that I did a lot of assimilating with things that I know went against everything, every fiber in me. And I just was like, oh, well, in my classroom, we're going to do this, but y'all can do that. Y'all can do that there. How much do you think with the working the long hours, just teachers with their workload, how much do you think is because of the complacency of teachers? Because they're so agreeing of new things to do. Like they're like, you know, we have the meetings, we have the faculty meetings, we have the team meetings, and they tell you, okay, well, now you're going to have to do this. And the teachers like will accept it in the meeting, but then we'll go talk about it with our coworker friend for about a good hour or so after school, because we're upset about this new role that, or, you know, this new task that has been added, but nobody said anything about it. And we're going to agree and still do it. We'll complain about it. We'll have our after school meetings, but overall, we're just going to say, okay. So how much do you think, I feel like, do you think that teachers have more power than they actually exert?
Yes. 1000%. Okay. You were saying all of that. And I was the angry Latina. I was labeled difficult. I had multiple administrators, like superiors, who would avoid a room if I was in there. And I found out after I went on maternity leave, I found out that my PLC, because I was the department head for English, my PLC, the English department, the English PLC, professional learning community, for anyone who doesn't know what that is. We like meet once a week, talk about stuff. Since I was vocal and also not a punk and knew what I was talking about, I would ask questions and I would ask for clarification. And I found out that the administrator who was like tasked with being in PLCs, who hadn't been in our English department PLC for like months, that he started showing back up once I went on maternity leave. So he was avoiding the English departments just because of me, which is also just like a whole other, like I talked about, like being in my new role, like with all this healing that has to be done, because there's a lot of gaslighting that happens too, especially like as like a teacher who asserts their power. Because like whether or not you're Black, brown, or white, or Asian, or anything, like if you're a teacher who owns your voice, who owns your power, who speaks truth to power, who questions, who challenges, there are going to be a lot of people who do not like that. And it's going to, like I can say from my own experience, really seeped into me. Like that poison, like really deep, like got into my bones to the point where like I'm still having to unlearn a lot of that and kind of recognize like, oh, that is affecting me here because I don't think that I'm like XYZ, or like because I think I'm so difficult, like I'm such a bad person. And so, yes, teachers do have power. And I would try really hard to get other teachers to say things. And it would get to a point where I spent too long being the scapegoat. I spent too long being the one person to say it. And then to be left standing out on my own, but then to have people, because like, here's the thing, I don't like complaining. It's just not in me to just like complain about something and do nothing about it. Like it doesn't make sense to me. Like it just doesn't work out. And so I would be so like confused and hurt with like, why are y'all coming to me after I put my neck on the line? After I said something for the whole staff. And afterwards, when there's no one around, you're telling me like, oh, I'm so glad you said that. Like you could have stood up and you could have said, I actually support that. Like that's the idea. Like the hope is let me be the first one to say it to give all the rest of you covered, like to know
some kind of battery. Look, some kind of battery. I'm gonna put some kind of battery. You're like, come on.
Because we're not alone. And like most of us do care about these kids, and it's just wild. I don't know if it's like a lot of people just like avoid conflict or like are afraid of conflict. Man.
I had a teacher, and she was fairly new. She was probably in like her third, I want to say, like probably her third year. But she was so scared of getting fired. And it was like the wildest thing ever. And I'm like, girl, they're not going to fire you, did you? Like, do you not see we have no subs? Are you not covering so-and-so class? What do you mean? Like, she was scared about getting, being late to meeting or here I am like, girl, they need you. I used to tell them all the time, they need you. They're not going to get rid of you. What?
Listen.
Do you not see who they bringing in? Honey, you're not going anywhere, love. You are a great teacher. Please understand that. But she was so like scared of just like, doing something that wasn't told to her, that wasn't told to her to do, really. And she was a great teacher. She was a by the book teacher, but she was there and she cared and she prepared and she she did the work, but it would always bother me just how afraid she was to lose her job. I'm like, God, they need you.
That's because like along my teaching journey, like of course I'm like learning a lot of stuff on decolonizing my own mind and like really figuring out like how much of the world has gotten, like Western society has gotten in me that shapes how I show up in the classroom. Like I went to Catholic school growing up, and so like thankfully pre-K through 8th it was in my neighborhood, Mexican American spaces, so like there was still our culture was around, but switching to high school and then college, it was more white dominant culture. So then having to like really navigate code switching and just like all this stuff. So then coming into like a classroom, we carry what we have. As teachers, everything that makes us a person is in that classroom with us. Like one example, like I grew up in like had some like violent spaces, experiences, loud noises, doors slamming was not a thing in my room. I couldn't really handle it. Like it just was not comfortable for me. And that's because of my own like trauma, my own experiences. And that's just like one small little thing. And so like you have to like think like as a teacher, they're like, why are we not like giving our teachers the tools to recognize I am a whole person with a whole world, with my ancestors, with everything that's happened to me, with everything I see, all of my own feelings, plus just things that have come from outside of me. And that goes with me everywhere. And that means it goes with me into my classroom. And I'm carrying this the same way we talk about like our kids carry their invisible backpack that has all that stuff inside of it, which like if you have teachers listening, I hope like they probably like recognize that little thing. But like teachers carry those things too.
Yes, ma'am.
If we're not equipped with the tools to name what those things are, to recognize it, to heal from it, to have the tools to like know like that's a trigger for me. I can't hold that against the kid. Like I need to be aware of things that bring up certain feelings for me. And I'm going to have to like either create a space where like I'm clear with them and saying like, we're going to do it this way. Or like, if we have not put in the healing work necessary to take care of ourselves, it shows up.
Yes, ma'am.
And it affects our kids.
Yes, ma'am.
But on the flip side, when we do the work, when we are healed, when we have the tools, it shows up and it comes with the kid. Like it affects the kids.
It does. It does. Because it's like you asking teachers to do social emotional lessons and they don't know for themselves. But I think if we get teachers out of survival mode, meaning pay them more so that they're able to not have to work 2-3 jobs. I said I didn't know a teacher who was not working a second job. Like it's just a thing. Like even if that second job is them being a department chair or them doing a sports after school or a club, you know, it was always something that the teacher, it was not, I taught in Virginia. Like we were not, when I came in, I had a master's. And so where I started, which was like at 48, I used to say I made 50, but it was like 48. But it's like, there was teachers that had been teaching for 8+ years that were at like 52. It's like, what is this? Like, how did you why are we doing this?
There's no growth. And then when I started teaching, they had just like the year before ended the policy that if you had your master's, you got a pay increase.
What?
So it used to be if you had a master's, you had a doctorate, you had significant pay increases. Not significant, it's teaching, but like a pay increase. Yeah. And it was like a year or two before I did my before I started teaching where they like ended that policy.
That's wild.
And so like I did end up getting my master's while I was teaching for the love of the game, essentially. Of like, be a good teacher. Like, I love learning. I want to be the best that I can. Like, when I say that I thought I was going to teach for the rest of my life, it was literally my thing was I'm going to teach in like the classroom until I physically can't teach anymore. And then I'll switch to like a university or something and I'll support pre-service educators. That was my mindset. Like, that was my plan. That was my plan for my life.
And here we are.
And here we are.
Going policy forums and telling people why it's important for school choice and freedom to choose.
Yeah. And then just owning your voice.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because the advocacy is so much louder when you're not in the classroom. It's kind of quiet in the classroom because your advocacy is for those immediate students as opposed to all students.
That's what's crazy. I remember a few years back, I would listen to this because again, when I say I'm a teacher nerd, an education nerd, I am like I ate up anything I could. I was reading education journals like before I graduated high school. Like I live and breathe this. I love it. So it's hard to not be like a practicing educator anymore. I would say to not be in it. But I remember hearing, because like, I'll be frank, like I came up in traditional public schools. And so the anti-charter propaganda was very strong. And so like I was swayed into thinking charters were evil and that like so bad and everything. And thankfully we've learned new things.
Otherwise, yes.
We're not like overall like, but like I heard this podcast and it was a lot of really good talks, but like the biggest thing that I got from it was like there was a movement of what was it? A few years back, there was a movement of integrating schools. So having wealthier white families put their students into traditionally underserved campuses where it's mostly Black and Latino kids, because those families have power, have influence, wealth. If they're in that space, the idea is they would then, I think, uplift the campus because then they have a louder voice to advocate for the things those kids would need. And so because
they're important stakeholders. They become
but I
gotta appease them. Like the school is going to work to appease them because they want to keep them. Because it looks good demographically, statistically, all that good, all the
they have more connection, they have more social capital, like all those things. So I remember hearing that and being like, this is weird. and I couldn't name why it felt weird, but it was like, this is weird. But then like listening further, the concept of school choice, and especially like Black and Latino families choosing to put their kids in charters versus staying in the traditional public school spaces. And someone said, like, who are we to tell Black and brown families who have traditionally been excluded from quality education, who have traditionally been under-resourced, who are we to tell them what they can and can't do for their own child's education?
Erica, I just had that conversation with a Tuskegee representative because we know we were hosting the expo.
Yeah.
In Tuskegee, and we moved it to Montgomery because of a stakeholder from Tuskegee having such a big pushback and said that we were gentrifying. Like that was a form of gentrification for us to come in and tell these Tuskegee parents that they can homeschool their kids.
Interesting.
Or just have school choice in general, because we have micro schools, we have charter schools, we have all these other different
co-ops. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, no, that was a form of gender, because who are we to be able to come in and tell an outside organization? They had an issue with us not being from Alabama. So It was like no, you can't come in here and tell these people, these are single moms, and like no, they did not see the benefit. They did not think it was good. Mm-hmm. They did not, and this is more than one person too. That really had an issue with us trying to host in Tuskegee. And granted, Montgomery's like 25 minutes from Tuskegee, but they said no.
And that's what's hard, because it's like we are seeing the same system, right? Like we're all that this system, like when we look at like, I guess this is also kind of a little bit of like a soapbox on like when well-meaning folks, and I'm saying that I do think they're well-meaning, but being well-meaning doesn't always result in like good outcomes or whatever. But well-meaning folks who are very anti anything that's not traditional public school, I think that there's like this oh my goodness, I've lost it. No, it's gonna come back. It's gonna come back. There needs to be like, when we look at like our education system, like when we're honest about our education system, we're talking about like, well, education is meant to do this, a good school system, like we have kids in America does education for this one reason. And it's like, pause, because America has a history. When we look at American history, education looked very different for different demographics. We had our American government stealing children from their indigenous families for the purpose of assimilating them and washing out their indigenous history. So that's one type of education that our systems have perpetuated. We had American, like U.S. government
continuously. Like, it's not a thing that's stopped, because the history that's taught is completely made up. And so if we're okay, and like, if nothing else, like let's let's admit that part, that our students, our kids, our little people are going through a system that is not teaching them real history.
It's not. And so like to just like acknowledge, like, the system is the system. The system was not the system was created intentionally to assimilate those of us who were not white, and to ensure that those who were had everything that they needed to maintain dominance in like the pyramid of the hierarchy or whatever. So
and to maintain the narrative. You got to think, like, if they control the narrative, then
exactly. History is written by the winners. And like, for all of the efforts that we've been trying for decades, mind you, like I think of like the Chicano student movements, you look at what their requests were, and like we're 40, I'm not doing the math. I taught English. I'm so sorry. Somebody else is going to do the math.
The same
thing, we are so many years out from the Chicano student movement. We still don't have ethnic studies. We still don't have ethnic studies. Like, we still have, like, there are bills being brought to state houses making sure that, like, our histories are not present. There are bills that have been, like, I was going back through my phone the other day and, like, old pictures, and in, like, 2017, I went to an ethnic studies conference or whatever, and there was a Senate bill that was named. And and this was in 2017 to bring forth ethnic studies. And it's not like we're asking for this to be like a 13th grade, like you have to get this or whatever. Like, it's literally just like, make this like applicable to a credit or something. They won't even give us that. That stuff hasn't passed yet. Like, I have my district representative every year, every like session, she brings up the ethnic studies bill. And it never moves. They don't want us knowing our history. And so, like, part of that is why I chose to teach English versus social studies, because it was like, I know I can do more history teaching with my English classroom and what I bring forth. Like, I was able to cover this is my Houston redlining map behind me. So these were all.
I saw it.
Yeah. I was able to like teach a unit where my students were able to do an investigative dive, but like learned what redlining was. Because I was an expert in English and I knew how to tie that in. Like, we were doing the things, but there's just the system itself. We can't ignore all of these things. And so when you ignore these things, you get to say, we don't need school choice. We can just traditional public schools, blah, blah, blah. Like, but you're ignoring really huge things and they're not talking about it. And so it's like, you know what? I'm not going to fault Black families for choosing to microschool or homeschool, because then it gets their children away from the racism that they do experience at school. That's enough for me. That's enough. I'm not going to fault Latino families for choosing a virtual homeschool space or for something that keeps them home when we're literally being targeted for looking like we can be snatched up on the street right now by ICE. Like, okay, like, the systems have just never been designed for us. And so we've got to do what we can to take care of us within where we live. And like, if there's options, there's options. Like, it's so hard. And it's such like I feel like it's such like a new conversation, like such a controversial conversation. But like, when you literally like talk with other people and it's like, it is through the lens of like Black and brown people, like all my Black and brown people that I know are like, hell yeah, I would choose the best thing for my kid. Like, but it's just like the loudest voices have done a really good job of controlling the narrative.
Of course.
Yeah. And it's just, man.
But that's why we have these type of conversations, Erica, because we want to have people thinking and understanding that if they want change, they have to be the change. It's that simple. Like, you have to, if you want something different, you have to do the different. And if you see the problem, be a part of the solution.
Yeah.
So.
And there's not like I forgot who I was talking about. It's not an either or. We don't have to do that's a pillar of white supremacy culture. That is the either or. Like, no. It's a both and. It's a both and. Like, there's space for everything.
For everything. There's no shortage. The funds aren't going to run out in public school. Y'all should be questioning what they're doing with the funds now. But it's not a competition. It's not if someone chooses something that's working for them, then this system is not going to do well, or this system. No, I feel like where we're going with education, I believe this challenge is beautiful. I believe that school choice is beautiful because it's going to make all schools present forth their best effort in making sure that who the stakeholder, which essentially should be the kids, they are best served. Yeah. And whatever, wherever that setting is, they're going to get the best service for them because there's options. It's not I got to send my child to public schools. Oh, no, girl, you don't. There's other options. Like, let's talk about them.
And then even too, just like empowering. Because I mean, there's a movement of a lot of former educators starting micro schools,
yes,
homeschool co-ops, and it's wow, you're getting the freedom to teach the kids authentically and like honestly, and you're getting to actually honor their cultures and identities. And families want that.
Yes.
We shouldn't have to choose. Like we can have strong academics and our identities honored.
Yes, ma'am.
Like we can.
That is a thing. That is a thing.
Yeah.
Yes. So I appreciate the work that you are doing with Freedom to Choose and all that y'all have, because y'all have me in meetings that I never thought I would be in, talking about things that I never thought I'd be talking about. And I love that. Yes, no, I appreciate it. Like, I still have an email that I was sending you in my draft that was expressing like, I love that. I basically just talking about what I just said, like just that y'all are getting me out of my comfort zone. And I love that. And I appreciate being in the space with you all. And you can share about the policy meetings if you want to.
Yeah, of course. We have policy forums once a month. It's on the second Thursday of every month. We like to get into some conversations. We'll do different topics. We've had storytelling. We'll get into like the importance of civic engagement. It's open to everyone. Yeah. So for sure. And you can definitely put my info in in who's here or whoever sees this. Yeah. Because if you are a micro school, if you're a homeschool co-op, if you're a charter school lead, like our organization is very interested in supporting through amplification and any advocacy support we can give. To really make sure that our voices, Black and brown voices, are centered and that we're at the decision-making table, that we get to lead these conversations and hopefully get to influence policy that will lead to better things for our kids.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I got two more for you before I let you go, Erica. Go. And because we are over time, but
I know, I'm so sorry.
This is great conversation. I know this is great conversation. We could definitely kept talking, but respecting time. One, with you having a fresh toddler and you doing and running and being head of things with nonprofit, and being a wife and all that dutiful things. How do you self-care?
Exercise. I actually just ran a marathon a couple weeks ago. So I'm trying to get back into like my workout routine, trying to figure out that, but I don't have to go as hard because I'm not preparing for a taxing race. So I can actually I don't know. So I'm trying to find back my workout routine. That's always, I definitely am a firm believer in getting the anxiety and everything out physically.
Nice.
Yeah. And prayer. I definitely have to quiet myself down and do that because I cannot do any of this alone.
Yeah. Right. And you're always smiling every time I see you. So I know that you take care of yourself because it's like you're bright. You're bright. Like every time I see you, you are very bright. And I love that. And I appreciate that because it's always like, when you sign on, Erica's going to be smiling.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, thank you. And last but not least, if parents did not hear anything else during this conversation, what are 3 things that you want to leave them with? 3 things.
3 things for parents.
If you didn't hear anything else, hear this.
Hear anything else? Your cultural identity matters and there is space for it in education. Number one. You and your children are experts in things that other people are not experts in. You are knowledgeable. You have wisdom. You can bring it into any space and you are an asset. And third, you can be unapologetically for your child and for other children at the same time. Yeah. We don't have to pick and choose. You don't have to pick your kid over other kids. Yeah.
All the kids matter. All the kids matter. Remember that your kid got to interact with other people's kids. That's why I had to tell someone before early on, like, no, I need everybody's kids to be cool, not just mine, not just, or, like, I need everybody's because my kids are going to be with your kids and I need your kids to be cool. Okay. Yep. But yes, you do not have to pick and choose because our kids are literally the future. And I'm glad you started on that note and understanding how important our kids are. Whitney's been telling us, Whitney told us, our kids are the future, honey. Okay. So pour into them and understand that you do have the freedom to choose and exercise that freedom. Do your research, tap into these policy meetings, tap into resources that are meant to support you. Understand that this is not a journey, no matter what school placement your child is in, that is meant to be done alone. So get the support, find the community. And if it's not in your area, build it.
Yes, I love that.
Okay. And, of course, homeschool your kids.